All right, I'm Hakeem Young, and I'm your host of the Since I've Been Home podcast, and this is actually part two. I'm here with CEO Jon McKay, and we left off part one talking about the infamous time where you jumped out the window.
That is where we left.
You know what I'm saying? So let's get into this. When did you start selling drugs and why? You know, and I say that because I started selling drugs because I wanted to support my own habit. It's just because I had two parents, private school, but they're not gonna give me weed, so I wanted to support my own habit. So that's why I started selling drugs.
Right. So for me, similar. And when I say similar, sometimes most people start selling drugs because of financial needs and stuff like that. But when I say similar for me, I recognize that God gave me life outside the streets, which our mission is to treat trauma through arts, education, and information using brain health. Our first mission was to promote success both at home and in the classroom. And that, when God gave me lots, it was because after graduating from Girard in 2002, being amongst the community, I recognized that, the education and curriculum that I got at Girard was a big part of the gap between my brothers and sisters and neighbors that didn't go to Girard College. So God gave me life outside the streets, and going to Girard was me experiencing life outside the streets or my comfort zone or my familiar zone. It's not the streets doesn't necessarily represent the streets and drugs and the negative connotation that's real. But if you never been in this, if you only been in the suburbs and you never been in another county or traveled nowhere, you're gonna be closed-minded. Me going to Girard, I never settle for less now, just by me having that exposure. But I knew in order to go into the streets and pull them out, I had to actually be a drug dealer. And the reason why I didn't have, for me, that resonated because in high school at Girard, I wasn't the best behaving student. And they would also always bring in people to speak to us. So one day they brought in somebody with that was known to have a 4.0. He had just graduated, model student. But for me, the moment I was excited really to hear the motivational speaker. But once I knew that it was somebody that I knew for a fact, never felt like, here come Jon, to the teacher saying, oh, here come Jon McKay, I know you're going to have detention today. Never known to feel like that, I shut down. So with my own data, knowing that I shut down because I felt like the straight A student wouldn't relate to me, I felt like in that moment, even though I was excited to go help my community and people that was in the streets and show them that drug dealing is just like entrepreneurship, you guys just use your transferable skills, I didn't think they would trust me as a messenger because I never sold drugs. So the short version is I sold drugs because that was the most effective way to pull the drug dealer out in this very moment like we about to do right now.
All right. Knowing you to be the man that you are, a man of murals, how do you feel about selling drugs, quote unquote, to your own people? Now, when I say your own people, I ain't talking about black people because, I used to sell drugs as well. And we have practically sold drugs to whoever. We just needed the money. So when I say your people, I mean the people, your people from your own community, your neighbors. How do you, as well as they're your neighbors and you're selling drugs to them, but you're also saying I did it to save them. So how do you feel about that?
Well, my position with that is long before I sold drugs and before I do anything, I do extensive research. And I really understand drugs and drug use on a very educational and professional level. And, this is just knowledge that I have that I consider. What I know about drugs, whether it's crack, cocaine, alcohol, tobacco, marijuana, all of those things are drugs, is that they also all have healthy, uses for them. And the reason why they're destructive in our community because of the misuse of it. So I knew, for one, the drugs that I was selling wasn't lethal. You understand? Although I sold crack, I still to this day haven't read any, heard any data on an overdose from crack. Although I did sell cocaine, that wasn't the primary thing I sold.
So you don't believe that people overdose from crack?
No, I've never heard it documented. Not crack, cocaine. So cocaine is crack in a raw substance, but crackheads, from the best of my knowledge, I never heard from school or anybody overdosing from crack, from heroin, from cocaine, but not crack. I'm just saying I never heard of.
I feel you, and I mean I'm going to disagree because I'm
but
pretty
you
sure it's out there.
let
But
me finish telling
I'm sorry, I am going to let you tell you. But I'm only stopped you because I just thought it was like outlandish. Like I never.
Have you ever heard?
I have heard, but the reason why I was going to go with what you said is because where I'm from in my community, crackheads live long time. Like they don't overdose like the other addicts that I used to sell to. So I'll give you that. You know what I mean?
I ain't saying that. I'm just saying
so
based
I'm
off.
saying through research, you're an intelligent guy. You can assume that someone died off crack.
No, I don't.
You wouldn't do that.
No, because I would make the same assumption about marijuana. You understand? And that definitely alcohol is a fact. Car accidents, liver damage. That's a number one killer. You know what I mean? So
I'm just bring you the info. You wouldn't go against it. Like
no, I'm only telling you. You asked me how I came to a conclusion. Mm-hmm. So if you care to hear the details.
I'm sorry for cutting you off.
I ain't giving you. I'm not proposing a program right now. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you my thought process. Mm-hmm. So so what I'm saying is, I weighed the options before I moved in, and based off of what I knew it wasn't different than anything that was being sold on the market to me. You understand? Right now, Congress is looking at the toxins in food, the additives, the sugar that's addictive. Sugar is as addictive as cocaine. So it's like, it's just drug is a drug market. It's another product, you know what I'm saying, in the United States of America. So as far as this lethalness, I didn't see it as a lethal drug. You get what I'm saying? So that's why I was willing to sell crack and marijuana as the thing that I was doing to be amongst the drug dealers. I
just find that you didn't see crack as a lethal drug. Growing up where we grew up from, like in our neighborhoods, you didn't see crack.
Look at what you just said. I know most crackheads have got sober and got their life together for people that never sold crack. You understand? People that's on crack or that was on crack and got their life together. I know most people, you know what I mean, that was on crack that turned their life together before people that never did drugs, that sit back, buy from, and if you think about your community, and you know what I mean, I know the scope you looking through, but when people think about what I'm saying right now, bro, you go no, it ain't lethal. The average people that's running around here that run businesses, that's running all these organizations, former crackheads, drug dealers, and drug users, the politicians, the podcast leaders. All of the majority, not all, but majority of the influencers and business owners are recovered junkies.
I can't let you get away with that, bro. I mean, you just said that you can see alcohol. Because you said you could see the results of alcohol.
No, I'm saying as far as lethal, right? I didn't sell alcohol. But it's more lethal than crack.
You could see how the effects of alcohol is lethal, right?
Way more lethal than crack.
But you're trying to tell me you can't see as someone who sold drugs how the effects of crack is lethal to the community, just as lethal as alcohol?
No.
Wow.
No.
No.
I'm saying lethal as far as causing the deaths.
Through drug dealing. How many people lost their life through drug dealing?
And I'm telling you, when you look at the numbers of when you do the research on the data of the casualties connected to, we gotta itemize them now. Mm-hmm. When you do alcohol, crack, marijuana, I'm saying when you break it down into categories is all I'm telling you. I didn't say, you know what I mean? First of all, I never heard of an overdose from crack. Never. You understand? But or marijuana. So you understand for that matter. But it's you gotta look at the data. I didn't bring the data, bro. This ain't about this is not a drug report. You gotta say that for when we covering that. You just asked me why I started and why I chose what I chose to do. You chose to support your own habits, so obviously you were selling, marijuana. You know what I mean?
No, I just can't. I'm always with you. I just can't see that you don't see the destruction in selling crack.
I mean, you won't hear me out, so I cut it out. But I will share the details of my perspective, so you can't see. But if you want to hear a perspective, I'm not gonna fight. I ain't gonna fight for it.
I feel you.
So, as a drug dealer, I sold drugs for several years. You understand? And as a drug dealer, I got to know the addicts. I wasn't just selling, like you said, these were people that we knew. So as I'm selling drugs, they're using it like medicine. You get what I'm saying? It's crackheads that's stealing, and they was stealing whether they was doing crack or not. People that steal, people that are violent. All of us had some people who use drinking to, get through their stress. Some people use crack. Some people use heroin. And see, some, you know what I mean? So how you, is some people use shopping. Some people use non-toxic rates. And that's what I discovered. So while I was selling drugs, I was on the research. I didn't even know it was doing field research because my purpose wasn't to become wealthy. That's the whole thing. My purpose was to find out what you're asking me so that I can answer these questions. That was the purpose of going in there. How do I bring them out? I wasn't just being able to be next to them and bringing them out, because that means the strategy would have been to get the most money and lead them out with money. I went in to understand two things. Why the person chooses to hustle, and why the addict is stuck on drugs. And I found that out.
Why?
So the hustler is the hustler because when the individuals that are in unfortunate situations, most of the time, a hustler will see, young boy, what's up? You ain't got no food. They'll see somebody in need and want to help them genuinely. You understand? And the way to help them is like, yeah, wow, you know, basically that kid is neglected. Back to on our other show, we was talking about the same people that's on drugs or preventing the violence is a person that everybody in that neighborhood know been neglected. And at this point, the city agencies or whatever public services have failed them to the point where they're left to a drug dealer being the person that's the only person they could come across. So now the drug dealer, you know, mostly like, yeah, I can help you out because I need help moving this product, and you can change your situation right now. So now when you start selling drugs and get in the street, you get security that you're not getting from the public sector, from your family, and all of the positive people out here, not getting security going to school. But now with your drug dealer, I got security. I got money. I got clothes. I'm getting fed. I'm getting what my family's supposed to provide for me from my job. The same way wives and husbands don't listen to their spouse, but they listen to their job because they're providing them with the security. So that's what I learned and discovered. So that's why when I package my programming, making t-shirts, doing media, I can say, young boy, I can take you to the studio right now and put some money in your pocket today selling t-shirts and doing all the entrepreneur things that I can do. You know what I mean? Now I have it packaged so I can go to every corner and take them off the street with the opportunity.
And as far as the drug addict?
The drug addict, I learned that, you know, the average person that end up being on drugs is because they weren't equipped to deal with their emotional, they didn't have emotional intelligence. So when they dealt with whatever was too overwhelming, the way that Dr. Daniel Amen frames it is, our brain, you want to have a brain reserve. So your brain, when you have a reserve, when something traumatic happens, your brain can handle the impact. But when negative things keep happening, you don't have a brain reserve. So your tolerance for stress is going to cause you to go pick a gun up you're going to break easier than a person that has better brain reserve. How do you build brain reserve? Build brain reserve with a healthy diet, healthy activities, exercise, and self-care plans. But now educating a person on their brain and giving them a clear-cut plan. You understand? So it starts. So now when that damaged brain, and most of the time that when they're neglected, they're only around what? The drug dealers and drug activities. So if I don't fall in line, the drug addicts is the ones that felt in the need of dependency. Instead of, you know, somebody saying, come on, let's get this money and make money, it was like, had this drink, you know what I mean, to take the pain away, or smoke this weed or do this crack to take the pain away. So everybody's use of it is good. It's like it's the goal is not to be a junkie. The goal, they're looking for relief. They're looking for an escape from something that's, you know, harmful. And when I, you know, in the midst of what I was doing, like I said, I seen how what they were doing when they were using drugs. It was to deal with their stress. They was handling their business, you know, taking care of their children to the best of their ability. They might have sold their kids stuff, but they came back and replaced it. You dig what I'm saying? So they were still, you know, a lot of the crackheads, when we was hustling out of town, we was staying in their houses, housing us. If you're a drug dealer, most of us basically like homeless, living in the streets. So now, even out the county, we stand in big mansions, and all it is just people that get high, having a social night. Same thing people do with non-drug activities like wine and food. They just got a little harsher, lethal drug, and they got an identity. So, you know, you looking at the crackhead identity of being a thief and dirty and all that, and that ain't, you know, the drug contributed to that because but it's really the depression. You know what I mean? It's really the heartbreak that got them there, not the drug. The drug is the medicine that's keeping them going for real, instead of hanging it up.
Okay, so drug dealing eventually leads you to being arrested. Tell me about that.
I was hustling, and like I told you, I chose a non-lethal job, but I'm hustling out of the town, and all the heroin addicts, they got picked up. So I'm out of town. Everybody picked up. I'm not thinking. So now I got a player that does heroin. So I don't sell heroin, but one of my workers, that get high but work with me, she do. So I take her to go get her works, and he like, yo, he know now the dealer that I'm going to. He like, people ain't coming because they done got pickle. I'm not thinking about this. I'm giving you all. I'm giving you everything. And so he like, look, you might as well take that. I'm like, well, I got her. She got a couple people that I know and trust. Oh yeah, why not? It's just an extra stream of income. But I don't normally sell heroin, which is a lethal drug, which you can overdose off on your first batch within one batch. You get what I'm saying? And so I took it, being greedy, going against what my standard was. Not that obviously from you doesn't make it any better, from other people doesn't make it any better, but nonetheless against what I said I was going to do. And so with this particular customer, I served her 3 times, and the first time I ain't recognized at the time. The first time I served her, one of the times, I got pulled over. And they let me go. I thought I dodged a bullet. And I was saying this to the dealers, not to encourage, but I didn't recognize. They were just identifying me. She called me back 3 more times on 3 different days, went back, Then 6 months later, I'm going to pay a traffic citation. They taking all day with my ticket. They come out, oh, put your hands behind your back. They had set me up, on 3 cells, on recording a phone call. So that when she called, so that's how I got locked up when I finally had to do time.
Okay,
Oh, Chester County.
Through that. You did the time.
I talked a lot, so I wanted to slow down and see where you wanted to go. You know what I mean? But Chester County, I did 27 months upstate. I did probably like 9 and 12 months. I don't know exactly. Waiting to get probably like 6 to 9 months at the county. I got sentenced the day before my daughter was born, so. I got a couple time stamps for y'all. I got locked up right before my birthday, around March. And then I got sentenced August 16th. No, she was born August 16th, so I got sentenced August 17th.
The same year? You ain't, like, how long? The fight wasn't long?
No, that's what I'm saying. No, it was like a couple months, yep. So I got locked up and that at the county. You get what I'm saying? And then I got sentenced by August. And then, I waited a 1 or 2 to go upstate. And I was upstate for up at Pine Grove, SEI Pine Grove, until I came back home in 2014.
How was that experience? Because, people don't know, a lot of people do know, but some people don't know. It's the difference between jail and prison.
Right.
The difference between being in a holding cell,
in the county and all.
Or in the county, and actually going to prison. And you were in prison. Pine Grove is a prison.
Yes, it's a prison. So.
Maximum security, what?
No.
Okay.
Nope. So for number one, I was locked up. I caught a case in Philadelphia County, but I never had to go to a Philadelphia County jail. I've only ever been to a county district, the 35th district and the 39th, for the cases, that I had, because I always got ROR and let out. County-wise, the times that I got, this only time I got incarcerated, I was at Chester County on the county level. Both when they initially locked me up and then when I finally, I had to take an open plea with that case, essentially. I guess I'll cover that in detail another time. But upstate, I went to...
Not to be there, but open plea is basically you're at the mercy of the court.
Yeah, so what happened, so I told you guys that, she set me up with it, but I didn't initially just say I'm guilty. I took it to trial. I said I did it because I took a plea already, but I took it to trial, and the short version is, because this is a trick that they did, and so I'm going to tell you guys so you know. So in the preliminary hearing, the cop testified to observing me through a rear view mirror at night, and where he observed me through the cell. The phone call, I knew they had that recorded call, but it wasn't nothing really on there, you understand, as far as that, without the actual transaction. So I was out on bail waiting to go to court, you know what I mean? But I was out for a minute, and the judge was like, oh, is this case on where's this boy? Get him down here. So they sent a court-appointed attorney to contact me, rush me to court. I'm not really, ready. You know what I'm saying? In the sense of like I knew it was coming because it came out of nowhere because I just was really pushing it off. So the judge reached out first, and she wasn't playing this time. So my lawyer, court-appointed, he like, hey, they want to get rid of the preliminary hearing transcripts. I had my plan, big cocky. I'm like, I don't care. Go ahead and get rid of that shit. All right. When I go to trial, the cop go to testify to where he's at. He said, yeah, my vantage point was in the fiend's window. Watch me pull up. I said, I can't beat that. That ain't what he said.
First time.
But, you know what I mean? So I couldn't go back because I already signed off on that.
You're not using that.
So I said, well, I can't beat that. So now I have to go to the mercy of the court, whereas though the judge can sentence me from probation to 10 years, so the DA was asking for 10 years for me to be sentenced. I did have a case that I was on probation for, you know what I mean, in Philly, so I had a little record. Mm-hmm. But this was my only ever case, so that was based off of my character. It was based off of my resume and everything I did outside of drug dealing. Mm-hmm. Initially, they offered me 18 months. I didn't take it. I would have took it from the rip if I wasn't already on probation in Philly. But I'm like, man, my probation from Philly was from the first case I caught with gun and drugs. They suppressed the gun. But the judge said the only reason I ain't sending you upstate was because of my character letter. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, man, I'm thinking I could beat it. If I beat it, it ain't no violation. Right. You understand? So I took my chances, so that's why I ain't take the 18 months, because I would have had to have a violation in Philly too. Right. I'd have took the 18 months because I knew I did it. I ain't had no problem with that. But I ain't know the other joint, that might have been another 5 years. So I'm like, strategically, let me take it to court. But now I'm in a position, so I take the open plea. I got 27 months, which was only 9 more months. So that lets you know the grace of God and, my character outside of drug dealing, is what carried me. And having support. So I just want to say, because I know a lot of people that are in the street or deal with this type of stuff, your character, the judges, I'm telling you, on this base level, especially in Philadelphia, I can't speak across, but just having one person in that courtroom, they'll feel comfortable giving you home, sending you home, giving you a chance. This is what attorneys, high paid. I had Frontenardo Perry, same attorney as Cassidy and Beanie Siegel. You understand that I hired. So I know what an elite person will tell you. Judges said it. So your character matters. Work a job. I always worked a job and all that. Don't do drug dealing and don't do nothing criminal at all. You don't have to. It's too much opportunity, technology. That was something our ancestors did have to do once upon a time. Now it's just an unhealthy entrepreneurial opportunity. So, but if you are in it, be responsible, man.
All right. So what year did you get out of jail?
2014.
2014. It is now 2025. That is about 9 years. Hold up.
Decade. I got it.
Yeah, I'm tripping. That's about
a decade. In the
right.
one.
So, since you've been home, what's the most important thing you've done? And what's something important that you want to do? You've been home for what, 11 years?
Yeah. This is the 11th year.
Mm-hmm.
11-11, 1-1. They owe the numbers. The most important thing I have done since I've been home is stay connected to God. That's been a bit of a journey. But I don't know what's going on my phone. It's going off by itself. But staying connected to God, man, and taking care of my daughter. As a tangible thing, I guess you would say, outside of my spiritual piece, is taking care of my daughter. I have full custody of my daughter, and because it's absolutely necessary. But our mom is doing great. Our mom is in her life, and we're good. We're a great team, but it was necessary for me to get full custody, and I had to do that by the second year that I was home, and that's been a journey. Shout out to the village and family and friends and women that have been in my life since I've been home. Thank you, all of you.
What's something important that you want to do?
get my home, purchase my first home. I've had, in my youth, I had a property. My mom, my pop, my step pop, they gave me a property. I never was able to get it quite up and running. But, you know, just to finally purchase I've neglected getting my own home, you know, renting and doing all these missions, but getting my own home and taking care of home is the thing. Because I've been putting God's work in the community first.
Mm. So, because I asked you what's some of the most important thing you've done since you've been home, and you know, you went to the important thing. You went to God, you went to your religion, and I think that's important because that helps you stay home. You know what I mean? That's a big factor in staying home. Now, give me some things that you've done, you know, in the community that you've done is important to. Yeah, give me some accomplishments you've done since you've been home.
Oh,
this the 11th year.
Revising the mission of life outside the streets. So our mission when I went in wasn't to treat trauma using brain health. You know, when I came home, I had a plan. And, you know, while I was upstate, and I'm going to go back and give you some details about Pine Grove because we didn't get to that. We kind of brushed out talking too much. But I had the plan I signed back up for community college to take business and with a focus on accounting, because my plan was to set up a corporation, teach the community financial literacy and investment. So, you know, we got businesses, but we don't own corporations on a corporate level. So, you know, opening and being able to do accounting on a corporate level. Most people know about filing taxes, but the accounting systems to run a large company, being able to read the perspectives or the business report for a corporation was my plan to set up corporations, what we're doing now, and bring ownership to the community. But while working in the schools, after I got into the schools with my performing arts program, financial literacy, and health and wellness program, starting with Girard College, moving to West Philly High and Sayre High School through the University of Pennsylvania's Netter Center that I was working with. They gave me my first contract working in the school. I'm like, how are these children that are connected to the University of Penn not wrapping their brain around the opportunity? They had everything they need, food, clothing, shelter, whatever they needed, they would give them. So one of my superiors, shout out to the Teen Reading Lounge and Miss Megatron, she worked with Penn, and they sent me to a trauma-informed care training workshop. And it was at that workshop that I learned untreated trauma was at the root cause of everything that plagued our community, and no matter how much money, book bags, turkeys, and everything we've been doing, we will not fix the problem unless we treat the trauma. So I was about a sophomore, I think I was about a sophomore or junior with my credits on my business degree, and with that knowledge, I pivot. I changed my major from business to behavioral health and human services because I knew, although I was there as a professional getting the knowledge, I knew they were their strategy was only going to trickle down to the houses. So I said, Life Outside the Streets will be responsible for bringing the same training about trauma that all of those teachers and stuff is getting that don't really live in our community, so it ain't staying here, so I could bring it to families directly. And that's when I revised our mission. So, you know, revising that has helped center on the actual problem. And now we've developed the brain health, you know, shout out to Dr. Daniel Amen. He has a brain health rehabilitation program that we adopt and we teach through, and we're bringing to Philadelphia and the world. And then, you know, with my own experience, especially around effective communication, customer service, leadership skills, everything that you value in me, I created a program to train others to be me. I have so many job opportunities and management opportunities and partnerships. Everything you see me do since I've been home has been a partnership to help another brand. We're really just launching right now because, you know what I mean? So now I have a training program that will allow you to work and do things on my level. So that shift from just promoting success both at home and in the classroom, which was Life Outside the Streets of original mission, to treating trauma using brain health, that would be the most important thing because it's at the root.
Now, did you actually run for mayor?
Absolutely. So, I mean, why you ask that question, or people might ask, first of all, I was one of the first candidates published. Shout out to WHYY. you know, and when they were publishing articles, they interview, you know, because reporters know the process here in Philadelphia and America. So for those that don't know, with the election, how the country started, or at least something they always made a rule, you could you can be a write-in candidate. So you don't have to follow any traditional formalities as it relates to getting the number of votes to get on the ballot. So when you get on the ballot, that just means your name is listed on those names. But if you run your own campaign and get enough people to vote and write your name in, you will be the mayor, president, whatever position is up for office. The law is that you will be elected. You've been elected by the people.
So you was a write-in?
I was running as a write, because I didn't have the resources and capacity to do it the organized way, you know what I mean, to be honest. But also strategically, to me, with the funding, I would still do it that way. Because, and I am running in 4 years as an independent, again. Because my name is unique, simple, and small, but you really know a person if you can write their name in. I don't want to be in office if you can't write my name in. I didn't do my job. I didn't effectively campaign. Because that's what you're supposed to be doing. That's a responsible vote. If you can walk in there and write in who you voting for, you know what you're voting for. Voting is a contract that passes laws. People just think it's stuff that happens. You're signing a contract that dictates how you're treated, how you live. You at one of our community meetings, and I know he wasn't lying, but people don't know politics. It was because of the violence. They said, tell us what you want. City council, we can have this whole block lit up with street lights, trash cans, whatever, but y'all got to organize and ask for it. People don't know that. People don't know government. So, you know what I mean? So there are things, that's why Donald Trump was running, because he knew the basic laws public. The rules to run for president is be 35 years old and a United States citizen. That's it. Those are only 2 requirements. It is really only a job. Meaning it ain't no different than applying to McDonald's. Is really the only job you get to campaign off of your character. Everything else, they looking at your work history, you got to put in a resume. The public office jobs, you really just get to run off of you. You just get to put it in and run off of you. Anybody can run. So I just knew that, you know, but yes, I was dead serious. I am qualified to run this city. You understand, I've done the research. 'Cause it's a job. All you got, if with any job, all you have to do is do the research, learn the part is managing. So running, the mayor is the CEO. Philadelphia is a business, is a company. And the mayor is the CEO of the company. The governor is the CEO of Pennsylvania, and the president is the CEO of the United States. I'm CEO Jon McKay.
I know you mentioned something about Pines Grove you wanted to get back to.
Yeah, I wanted
Tell me
to
a little bit about Pines, because I know you actually was arrested with a couple people that I know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, shout out Free Rada Rada, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, we was up Pine Grove together. All glory be to God, my bro, my guy. Free Rada Rada, he on his way. Follow his page too. We're gonna put that all in there, follow his page. But Pine Grove is a newer prison. It's not maximum security. It's actually had a section for the juvenile lifers. So it couldn't be that max. It's newer, so it was more like a campus design. We had central air, we had heat, we had cable. All the prisons pretty much have that now, but it wasn't an older style tier prison like you see on the movies, but Pennsylvania does have those. I'm very grateful and blessed that I didn't have to be in there, but it was more of a, I would say college-like environment as far as the setup and design. You feel me? It didn't look like a dark, dirty prison. But, I mean, prison, so no, I wasn't at the worst prison, but I was in prison nonetheless. It was fights, you know what I mean? It was violence, but I tell people, and what I assumed and what I confirmed when I went through there is just like on the streets. People that be into stuff, they in jail, they was into stuff. It's just the same people on the streets, now we're just in a controlled space. So people that's typically in stuff, in jail, they on the same wave or they turned it around. If you a fallback type of person, you don't be in, you know what I mean, you might have got caught up, locked up, but you don't be, you know what I mean, you gonna be cool. It's not a lot of bullying really going on in jail. You know, people that be getting raped and punched on and all, they be doing little stuff they ain't supposed to be doing. You know what I'm saying? Not that they do it on themselves, but making deals that people tell you don't do. You get what I'm saying? And that's what it's going to get you. But for the most part, prison for me, it was, I spent the time studying. I went in, practicing, my faith for Christianity. I had, shout out to New Shiloh Holy Hands Healing Ministries. I had just started taking my new members classes, which was instructing me to do Bible study. So from the first time I got locked up to when I had to do this stretch, I had already knew in prison they got so many Bible correspondence and books and free resources for you. I was going to 3 or 4 Bible studies a day because they had them at jail. All I had to do was write the chaplain. I had a stack of Bible correspondence where I do it, send it off, somebody grade it, give me a great positive note, and that was already a part of my walk. So I just took the time to grow, and that was my anchor. You know what I mean? That was my comfort. So I spent the time studying, and I would say if you govern yourself and stay out the way, it's a good opportunity to build yourself up, and that's what I did.
That's good. Now, you know, we went over what you've been doing in the community, but what I could say is you're a great father. So I know a lot of stuff you're doing in the community to help our children. You, in a sense, making sure your children. So you have 2 children, a boy and a girl. Let's talk about your daughter first, Love. First, how old is she? And then tell me about it.
Love Miracle McKay. She's 12 years old, going on 13 this year, August 16th. So, you know, save the date. Get y'all, show my daughter some love if you care to. She was the most valuable cheerleader 2 years ago. She used to cheer with Lindley Lions at Lindley Academy Middle School. She makes doll houses from scratch, like with sneaker boxes. She makes doll clothes for dolls. She's very crafty with her hands, arts and crafts. She has her own LLC, Love Miracle McKay LLC, where she sells handmade bracelets. And but most of all, she my comforter. It's been so many tough times, trying not to let these tears coming down, thinking about them. You know, car breaking down, and she in the car, and you know the positions we've been in when we were selling drugs. You understand, and to humbly just be grinding this thing out with the resources I have. And when things have been tough times, she'd be like, "It's all right, Dad." And that has been much needed, because building things up and doing things without being a criminal is really hard in America. Especially after coming from that lifestyle. And it's not because don't take this as because a person is addicted. In America, for a long time, especially for the black community, you gotta work 3-4 jobs, have multiple streams of income. That's why people start doing criminal activity and make lump sums of money. The whole country was built, Miami, LA, all that's drug money. Vegas, Philadelphia,
Atlantic City,
all these cities. You understand, the world development was because of some crooked stuff going on. So that's the science. So to make a conscious effort, I'm not gonna do nothing illegal this time.
very hard.
And it's challenging, you know what I mean? So I'm just saying that so to clear for the viewers, like, it ain't about staying to the light. It's just like financially, families need it. You know what I mean? You need the resources. But thugging it out, my daughter has been my comfort. It's a lot of details to our story, but she's doing great. You know what I mean? Her mom is out, just on a retreat, you understand, getting herself together, growing spiritually, and she needs the support. Her mom is away. You dig what I'm saying? Remembering as I'm sharing with you guys that, she does want support. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm going to share, that her mom is incarcerated for something she didn't do. She was dating a person that tried to kill her by setting her on fire, set her apartment on fire, burned down the whole entire apartment complex, and told them, the police, and she was in an abusive relationship, reporting, I'm talking about rape, to the police, and they ignored it. And even after he burned down his building, she reported it, never looked into it. And because of insurance reasons, they wanted to leave it on her being a tenant, because that's the only way, the property, because the property was out of pocket. They didn't have a fire hydrant and nothing. A lot of compliance with insurance, you get what I'm saying? So they railroaded her. And I went to trial, to see with my own eyes. I ain't talking out of feelings, It was a very corrupt case, and so we waiting on appeal right now. But she's been away since 2020. So as you asked about my daughter, she's doing great, but that's the thing that we're all, working through. But she's doing great. Prisons, believe it or not, and we're going to bring it back to here, are rehabilitation centers. When you look at their mission, that's what they are. Their missions are to rehabilitate. And I'm saying that to say that they're not ran like that, but I understood that going in. So utilizing it is that, and that's what her mother is doing. Utilizing it, she's doing great. You know what I mean? I tell people, 5, 10, listen, you go to college, you away. You go to the military, your loved ones is away. You know what I mean? They in prison, they just away. They on a retreat, they on a recovery. If they was in the military, no, it ain't prison, you still wouldn't be able to call. They won't be able to call you when they can call you. So you got people put that in perspective. All right, cool. Like, you know what I mean? Life's still going on. Hopefully they can come on one day. But changing that like they're away, that negative, because that's a reality. And when you look at it that way, thank God we have each other. She has, our support. She's doing very good in there. So God is good.
That's great. Now I'm gonna ask you some questions that in part one I asked you some questions. So I'm gonna ask you the same questions, but on.
All right, my son.
For love.
Are we still on love? All right, go ahead.
So I asked you in the beginning, what was your home dynamic like? So now I'm asking you for her. What is Love's home dynamic like? As far as was you and the mother in a home together, and the relationship with the siblings? What's her home dynamic like?
So number one, I just met my son at 16, at his age at 16. So definitely she wasn't in the house with her sibling on this side. She has an older brother and a younger sister. So no, she's only living with me. She lives with me. I have full custody since 2015. And she does, shout out to Cheerleader. Cheerleader keeps her consumed, man. She's in there until 5, 6 o'clock every day. They cheer on Saturday. When she's not doing cheer, she does track. Because me and her mother isn't together every other weekend, she goes to her grandma. So she's busy. She's busy. Honestly, we don't spend nowhere near. I'm so grateful, bro, for the genuine love and appreciation my daughter has, you saying I'm a great father. Because the time that nowhere near what I desire to spend. You feel me? And so I would say that's the thing I don't like, and I got control over it, but don't have control over it. You feel me? But so that's you saying something I work on.
Right.
That's why you hear me getting a home family, like that's everything, because that's what I haven't been doing.
Do you think her home dynamic will affect her negatively as an adult? Because I asked you the same thing. Do you think the way she's being brought up and the home dynamic would affect her negatively as an adult? And if so, what are you doing to make sure it doesn't? You actually mentioned a lot of the things just now, through the keeping her busy, the village. So
yeah, I don't think my leadership and strategy is going to affect her negatively. From the feedback that I get from her teacher, her cheer coach told me just the other day, and this was, it don't matter what it was, but he just was calling me outside of practice about something else, but wanted to mention. It just came up in conversation. He said, Love is so well-mannered and well-spoken. I've never seen, she's one of the most well-spoken students, in here, that he's witnessed. So she is well-informed, and our communication is really good. We don't spend a lot of time together, but she's a very transparent child, very honest child, and so I just feel like, a lot of the changes, and because I'm transparent, I believe that's the big thing that was an issue for me as a child, that adults was like, just do, like not explaining, I'm an explainer, because that's what I want. And it works, because when you explain and give people understanding, it gives them security. And, I do that with my daughter, and she does it with me, so she's great. And, most importantly, one day, I asked her, we were talking about time. And you gonna crack up at it about this. So we was talking about time, but then we started talking about God and Jesus. And I asked her, I said, well, I was teaching her in this one. I said about time, and I said, you know, one of the things that how I know Jesus is God is because right now it's the year 2025, because it's 2025 years from when he was born. Time is literally dictated by him. So for the person to my down, wow, you said the date you acknowledge in Christ.
And she said that.
No, I said I was teaching.
Okay.
So here, remember I told you I don't spend a lot of time. So at this time I had a significant other and partner that I was at her house. So I said, how do you know Jesus is God? I asked her. Or do you think, first of all? I asked her. She said, yeah. And I said, how you know? And oh man, I remembered at the beginning, but though she said something along the lines of what she say? First of all, she had an answer. That was the thing. When you was asking me the question about my time, and so I'm using this as a piece of evidence of like she's good because the things she know, even though I didn't sit down and teach her this. I ain't sit as much as I'm a minister and all that. I ain't hardly had that many. I mean, I've read with my daughter. Does somebody will study, but not much. You hear what I'm saying? So, but she knew. But she was like, what'd she say? I don't know. I want to make it up. I don't remember, so I don't want to make it up. Right. But she answered the question, and I started crying. You know, my friend that we went to school with together, she was there. I started crying. So, you know, because I was so grateful that she did know, and I know I didn't tell her.
Right. No, so the reason, because you I don't know if you remember, but the part one of the interview, I asked you the same question, and your answer was the same. You said you don't think that the way you was brought up affected you, as an adult. But then in talking negatively as an adult, but then in talking and going through it, it didn't. I don't think you jumped to the other side and say, well, yeah, it did affect me negatively. But you acknowledged that it had some type of effect on you, as far as you were talking about. My mom didn't come up to the school.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't know if that, you know what I'm saying? So you didn't let that plague you, but that was something. So I say that to say, it's great that has a village, but being someone in her position, because I only say this because I grew up with two parents. And I know that things that my friends went through, cousins, other family members who didn't have two parents and what I had, I can see what they went through. Now that, my wife is a grown person now, I can see that I was raised with both my parents. I never felt neglected.
Right.
So I can see what neglect does to an adult. And the fact that you already like, damn, I need to spend more time with my daughter. That's the problem. But you have her with the necessary pieces around her. So hopefully she don't have to grow up with that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And that's the only reason why I'm asking this question. Because that dynamic as a child affects us as an adult.
No, absolutely. You know what I mean? No, absolutely. And that's why, like I said, but I'm glad you shared the details, because I hope that gives comfort. Where you at? You can't just drop everything and be there, for your kids. You know what I mean? 100% like you want all the time. You got to lean on and use that village. But keep it a priority. You know what I mean? And keep communication up. Communication goes a long way. Knowing where your kid is at, letting them know where you're at, and to give you comfort. All right, I could go to work. It might bring y'all together and bring them in on it. We be trying to do it over there and bring the surprise all the time. Just bring them in on the process. All they want to do is help us. All they want to do is help us.
And I want to let you know, because I know you felt some type of way about not spending the time you want to spend with your daughter. Because I'm a brother, I'm an insider. So I know you feel some type of way about that. But I want to let you know that what you are doing that's commendable is making sure she's not home by herself with the internet or with a friend, because you keep her cheerleading.
Oh, yeah.
Dance. Grandparents, not grandparents. So them things right there, and then it's you. So all the influence and the activities you're putting around her, you want more time, but you make sure her time is filled up. I don't know, I think maybe it's the Lord, the idle mind, or, you know,
Yeah,
you know what I'm
right.
saying? And you're making sure that she's not home just watching TV all day. And I commend that. You want to do more time, and I'm pretty sure you're going to do that.
Absolutely.
Now, that was my niece love. Now, the dynamic with your son is a whole different story. You know what I mean? So first, tell me about him. Tell me his name. How old is he? Tell me something about him, and then get into that. Because you mentioned it a little bit earlier.
Right. Yeah. So my son Samadi, I'm not gonna put his whole name out there just because I met him at 16, and you'll hear in the story why I don't feel like that's it. He ain't grown man now. You get what I'm saying? But he got Instagram. He got a streaming platform. Look him up on there. You get what I'm saying? Philadelphia is a dangerous city. You feel me? But that's my son. I love him. I met him at 16. And how does that happen, right? That happens with the short version is, I went on a neighborhood trip to Miami. What is that? A group of people from the same neighborhood booking their own flights to there, a large group trip down there. And me and his mother, shout out to his mother, awesome and amazing woman, super mom. We connected down there, but we weren't dating, you know what I mean? And he was conceived, and 16 years later is where, I found out when, after a family member of hers, basically saw me as like, he looked like me. So me and his mom was always in contact, but I never seen him. Never. She was already in a relationship.
Did she know that he was your son, or she just didn't know?
She said she didn't know.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And, all things considered, I can see why. I can tell you after our conversation without disclosing anything that I can understand why, things played out the way they played out. But what was most important to me when I reached out was, what did she want to do and what did he want to do? Because the impact, to them was going to be the thing. And he said he wanted to find out, and she wanted to find out. And, a year later, because, I don't think she was ready that first year, to move forward. I'm going to tell this part. Because I was working with someone, and she booked me. Shout out to Kirsten Britt. She is an entrepreneur. My business partner, Kirsten Britt. I was working with Kirsten, and she met his mentor, had a program. Good brother. I'm going to give y'all the details. Shout them out because his program is still up and running. And she was going to do it or had me do it. She ended up sending me by myself. So what I didn't want to do, once I found out a year ago, was run into my son out in the field because I'm always outside, without addressing it in private.
Mm-hmm.
Sure enough, so when I connected with his mom a year ago, she sent me a picture and when I seen it, I'm like, I already know, from the picture. But I had to go through the process. She wasn't really ready. We called her a couple times. But now I walk into this program, and my son, I didn't know for sure, but while I'm sitting and waiting, he comes and offers me a slice of pizza. Mm. So I'm like, number one, it is my son. So even if she didn't send me a picture, I probably would have felt something. But I did have her picture, and I'm like, I think this, but I'm here. I couldn't call her, right? I could have, but I wasn't. It was almost, I'm talking about time to start.
Right.
So I had to go through and teach the workshop. He in there. He gave me a slice of pizza. I teach my treat your trauma workshop, security for Philly, Jon. I don't know what it was at that time, but it was around brain health, mental health. It was trauma, my version of trauma-informed care, 5 steps on how to look after your brain health. And they were elementary students at the time. He was about to graduate. No, middle school students, but the children were in there from elementary up to middle school. And I'm up there teaching and thinking, he raising his hand, engaging everything. As soon as I get out of there, good session. I call his mom, yo, we in this program? She like, yeah, the program at the bottom of his block. Mm-hmm. And that was the other thing, his mom lived in the neighborhood, but I was trapping outside the neighborhood, wasn't never really around. So I ain't never seen him running up the street. If I would have ever seen him, I would have just knew or thought something.
Right.
But
did he know at that moment when he gave you the pizza that you was his dad?
I want to say yes,
Okay.
because she showed him me. She told me, but I don't know this. I'm just, you know what I mean? So I never asked him, to be honest. I'm going to ask him. I never asked him, did he know, like when he gave it to me?
Right.
But he played it. If he did or he did, it was all love, you know what I mean? And then after I called, I met with him like the next day. You get what I'm saying? And explained to him like, this is what I didn't want that, because this is what I do. I'm out in the field. I don't want, you know what I mean? And I asked him.
Come across as like I'm just swinging something on you or something.
Or I was neglecting it. I wasn't neglecting it.
Right.
I got the call. I got the statement. I made the call on the spot. I was moving on you and your mom's time. You understand? But I did, because that's what it would have been. How? It couldn't have been nothing but neglect. If I'm outside every day doing what I'm doing and not figuring out that. You get what I'm saying? Like, what you doing over here? You ain't want to take the time?
Did you harbor some type of resentment towards his mom for that? Well, I asked that because you did let me know that she told you she didn't know. But still.
Resentment?
After 16 years, like, it's my son.
I mean, honestly, so what I didn't get to around to is like I told you how we met, but right away I learned that he was okay.
And that's the most important.
He's great. He was down to find out if I was his dad. That's where I stopped at. You know what I mean? I asked him, you know what I mean, he said yeah. You know what I mean? Did the DNA test, you know what I mean, to confirm it. Off the picture I was, you know what I mean, content, but all things considered, I think the test was necessary, you feel me? And things was good. You know what I mean? I spent time over there, in the short version of why I say to date, why, I would say our relationship isn't as close as or active. Number one, just because of my own position. He's not a little kid that you can just pick up and say, all right, come on, we're going to Chuck E. Cheese. Like, it got to be something he want to do. He's very laid back into playing the game, you get what I'm saying? So it'd be about, like, going over there, just, he not in high school no more. But you get what I'm saying? When he was still in high school, that's what it was about. And let's just say things got a little complicated with me and his mom, you know what I mean, after that. But we're great now, you feel me? And he's great, I was able to be there. Back to my high school experience, my dad wasn't at any of my graduations, and so I was able to be there for his middle school graduation. He invited me, even though, I didn't have much communication with him, transparency. He's like, he invited me to his high school graduation. And if he need anything, he don't call me for much, because he, thank God, his mom, he's taken care of. He'll call, like, I would say shortly after what happened during COVID. He was having a difficult time, like most students, staying focused. And let's just say things escalated to the space where he's like, I don't want no dad. I ain't asked for no dad. And for me, the best thing was to respect his space that he was in with that. Because I can force myself, and it's not going to be helpful.
Facts.
But
gotta be hard, though.
No, but listen, I'm telling you, so after that, when he needed his working papers, he called, got them. And he laid back. You know how I am. He really me. You know what I mean?
So you lay back.
And I don't call, we brothers, I don't call. It's not nothing I'm proud of, you know what I mean? But I don't communicate. But we good. It ain't like that, you know what I mean? And I feel like with his graduation, and when he called, and when I meet him, it's all love. I interact. I'll be sending him on Instagram sometimes. You dig what I'm saying? It's all love. So we good. You know what I mean? Now, we don't spend as much time as we like, but not even with love either. You get what I'm saying? So that's why that's the priority for me right now in my life. Like,
The time.
That's it, because that's why I have it, you know what I mean, because I ain't had the real resources or capacity, especially with him being grown. The things he like, I need your help, I gotta get in position.
I hear that.
I need your help, real rap.
Respect.
You know what I mean, like, you know what I mean, I don't want to do that. He doing better than me, real rap. You know what I mean, if somebody, he got his car, he don't have to say responsibilities, he's doing good, he's doing great. But he's a streamer. But we're good. He's a streamer on where he streams content, kind of like Kaz. Yep, Kaz Senate.
We will be interviewing him.
Yeah, well, for sure. Yeah, you can bring him up here.
We're gonna bring him and interview him. All right. Now, I want to know: did you grow up religious?
Yes.
Okay. Now that was like mother, father, grandparents.
Both. Mother, father, both grandparents.
Both sides are religious.
Yeah, but on the grandparent level, it's just the mothers for the most part. On the both levels.
Okay.
Well, no, my dad, mother, father, religious, but on the grand level, it was just the grandmoms primarily on the religious tip, not the dads.
Okay, so you was religious your whole life, come from a religious family, but when did it like fully click and did you fully submit to God?
I got baptized at 16 on New Year's Eve, so I think that says a lot. I could at 16 be running around, party in the house.
You think though? Because the reason why I say that is, and I know that's real, but like I said, I'm your brother, I'm inside, and it seemed like you resubmitted. Like I don't know if it's
I mean, you
came out of jail or you know what I'm saying?
I mean, it's a commitment on different levels. I was 16. You dig what I'm saying? You know, while I was in jail, I got. You don't have to, but I got. It is so. A baptism is a profession of your commitment to God. So you're right. I mean, you know what I mean? I can get baptized every year if I want. You know what I mean? To acknowledge my commitment. That's what it is. It's an expression. It's an outward. It's not nothing. It's an outward expression to share with the community where you at with God.
No, I'm sorry not to cut you. Go ahead.
So I'm just saying to your point. Of course, I'm recommitting and reinventing. You know what I mean? Like, yes, you're right.
I think I asked the question wrong.
But
and the reason, and you know, that happens. You ask the wrong question with the wrong. But what I meant and what I'm saying is, you always been a religious person. I met you when I was probably like 13, 14 years old. But I'm going to say now, you wasn't openly preaching the gospel.
When did it become a priority?
Now that we're grown, and I want to say it ain't recent. It's been about maybe 5, 6 years. It's been a while now where it's like you openly are preaching the gospel. You are trying to, you know what I'm saying? You've always been a good person, but now it's like, yeah, I'm a good person, but I'm trying to bring y'all to God.
Well, 2020,
okay,
COVID.
Why is that?
COVID provided the opportunity. And what made it consistent was during COVID, I had stepped down from my job working at the school too. And God spoke to me directly and told me, he said, you know why the mayor, the principals, and all these people in position not listening to you when you tell them about your plan that I told you to talk, that I told you, because I told you to do it. He said, who are you to give somebody else a task that I gave to you? I said, oh, it's me holding us up. So I stepped down from my job, you get what I'm saying, and I was like full time, you know, out here. That's when I had I had the spot on top of the Tender Touch, you know what I mean? That was that year. I went to Vegas right before the summer, you know what I mean? I came, because of COVID, I was able to be in Vegas working virtually, you know what I mean, out there, and I was able to look and see Vegas, and that's when I knew that's where Security for Philly was born. I said, in Vegas, we come here to party and get high and drunk, and security is tight and it's safe. It's safer than Philadelphia because it's security walking up and down, and I saw the design. So I knew what the solution was. So saying that to say, but this is during that time, true story, I also finished up parole. While to be real straight, I finished up parole, and at the end of parole, I was able to start like smoking again. You get what I'm saying? Smoking marijuana. And being on COVID, not at work, I'm smoking marijuana. Crazy. You feel me? And COVID happened. I ain't at work. I'm hustling my t-shirts and doing everything, you know what I mean, legal. Christmas around the corner, I get sick. I think I get COVID. Money already tight. I'm like, damn, I ain't think about my daughter, you know what I mean, cash flow wise, on this mission. You feel me? So I'm like, I gotta go back to work. You know, I'm not I gotta go back to work, but personally, I'm breaking down and having a breakdown because I'm sick. It's cool for as long as I can hustle, but COVID was a 2-week process. So I'm like, I'm about to be behind 2 weeks.
So you think it'll be a couple months? Go ahead.
You understand what I'm talking about? So I'm saying I was down, broken, and I was there with Sha. It was in November, and this story is important because while I was down, broken, the devil was like, yeah, you picked a fight with me, and you out here smoking weed every day. So talking about you serious, you playing games. Look at you. So you asked me that about my ministry, so I started reading Proverbs every day online at December 1st, 2020. You know what I mean? High, smoking weed or not, every day on live, I read, because when I was upstate, that's what I did. I read a proverb a day to keep the pain away. You know what I mean? And Proverbs is wisdom, so I know people appreciate the wisdom. You know what I mean? It ain't, you can get it. It's just all tips. So I read a proverb a day in the month of December, and that really birthed my ministry as far as being consistent.
Can you see yourself being a pastor or a preacher, or would you consider yourself a pastor or a preacher?
Oh, yeah, well,
and are they the same thing?
Well,
like a pastor or a preacher,
I would say no.
Okay.
So they're not the same thing, and no, I'm not the expert to give you the breakdown. But I was actually ordained as a minister during that time, and it was a shout out to Pastor Toby Martin of Promises Church. While I was ministering online, shout out to Dark Angel. She was already a member, and she had kind of like tapped her, passed her into my lives and all that, and we did a live together. And then I went to a couple services, and God laid it on her heart to ordain me as a minister. So for me, it was really organic, like it happens in the Bible versus going to school. And you know what I mean? I didn't know her. You know what I mean? It just happened like that. Mm-hmm. So I am an ordained minister, and I'm opening a church. The church that I'm opening is called Jesus is God Church.
Mm. From your knowledge or your understanding, what's the difference between a pastor and a preacher, or a minister? As you said, you're a minister, ordained minister now?
Right, yes. So a minister runs like a program, like a workshop, like an after-school program. They participate within the church. The pastor is the CEO of the church.
Okay, like so I go to this church, I can minister here, but I'm not the pastor.
You might have some authority as the minister over your ministry. You understand? But yeah, Jesus God Church, Believers United is my church that I'm starting.
Okay.
Jesus is the Son of God.
Now, it might be something that you don't want to, discuss.
Everything's on the table until I tell you it's not.
Right. You are a devout Christian brother, but I recently you've been trying to elevate and thinking about Islam.
No, recently I took my shahada.
Okay.
Twice, actually.
Why is that?
I was on a mission of elevation. And what I seen from the outside of the Muslim community was more discipline, more execution, more community. You understand? And what I understood from Muslims was that it was an elevation, you know what I'm saying, as it related to understanding scripture and saying that Christians, we had some things off. I never conceded to the idea that Jesus wasn't God. But I just I just knew that they got that wrong. And I felt like, as a Muslim, the scriptures, not me, but, now reading the Quran, it was really no doubt that I thought they complemented each other. Mm-hmm. And when you read the scripture at face value, they do, because the Quran cites the Torah and the Injil, which is the Bible collectively, all of the scriptures, if you actually do the research on what the Quran meant when it mentions the Kitab or the book or these books, it's talking about all of the books, in real life. But, I looked at it as, I thought it was a level of elevation.
And the reason why I asked that, because I actually thought that was like refreshing, if you ask me.
Yeah, I was ecstatic.
Right, I'm Muslim myself.
Right.
I'm coming from a Christian background. And I can honestly say I turned Muslim because I was kind of like not in agreement with some of the things that was, I guess, Christian values. The main thing was like accountability for me. I didn't believe that Christians hold, God, in a sense, held Christians. And that system held Christians, for to be accountable. I was taught that you can, pray for forgiveness, accept God into your heart, and you'll be forgiven no matter what you do.
Right.
So that's no matter if you're a rapist, murderer, or whatever. And that just never sat well with me. So one of the things as a Muslim that I learned was you're paid for it. You as a son of God or a child of God, you're promised, heaven, to be paradise, but you're gonna pay for the things you've done, and that just set well with me. So that was one of the things, and it was refreshing because you were someone who, not like, oh, I'm going against Christianity, but you wanted to learn Islam and find out if you want to be a part of it, not to rebuke Christianity,
No.
just to elevate. I see that. I like what they're doing over there. I like the discipline. I like some of the qualities I want to learn about. And I'm like, damn, you don't gotta be against Christianity to do Islam. That's
No.
proof. You don't have to be against Islam to find out about Christianity and find more about it. And I just was like, wow, that's powerful. So that's the reason why I asked.
No, thanks. I mean, all glory be to God, bro. I mean, it's intentions. You know what I mean? It's all about intentions with me. You feel me? With the people around me and with myself, because that's what the Bible teaches you. You feel me? Like, you know what I mean? And I believe in that. And from when I look, like you said, you Muslim, my brothers and sisters, you feel me? Like, I've been identifying when I look at my friends and family as people. Mm-hmm. But people are not the religion. People are not what the scriptures say. You feel me? And the same things that I identify as far as, like I said, organizing and all that, those things are true. But why you hear me telling you I'm open in the church and I don't no longer identify as a Muslim is because what I read in that scripture. Like when you said earlier, I know as a child of God, I'm going to be held accountable. Mm-hmm. In the Quran, based off of the research that I've read, God, and that's in the Quran, doesn't look at you as a child of God. You only a slave to God, and it is shirk or against the belief to identify yourself as a child of God. I didn't know that. You understand? And the statements like, if no one sinned, I will wipe all the people out and create sinners. Instead of where the God of the Bible is like looking for the most righteous, non-sinning person, and the goal is for none of us to be sinners. Whereas though it's scripture saying, if it ain't no sinners, I'm gonna wipe everything out, so if everybody was good, that's not a good thing. Like what? That ain't the God is citing the Bible as what it learned, and but then it's saying that they got it wrong, and this is the new revised version. And then when I looked up the history on what the people and the Prophet Muhammad practiced before Islam, it was pagan and idol worship, the same thing that Muslims be attacking Christians with about Christmas. Like they experts about pagan worship, and here it is, the building in Mecca and the some of the habits that they're doing is actual certified pagan worship activity. People don't know this. I didn't know this. I don't think people signed up like, yo, this is what I like you said, I would never been. If I would have knew this up front, it would have been nothing to explore. Even with the Shahada, come to find out there's a more in-depth Shahada where you have to say that Jesus is not God. So I wouldn't have been able to take Shahada if I would have said the whole thing, because I wouldn't have said that. I would have had to been stuck to go, do the research. Like, oh, I ain't saying that. I like what y'all go. Like, look, that's the way. That's the way. Cool. Well, go do your study before you do that if that's not what you want. And then now, after really realizing what that means and why it's so important to be able to identify as a child of God. First of all, when you look outside of religion, if you agree that God exists and He created us, that's like that relationship of what a child, father-child, that establishes that. Even when people told me, it's like, oh, you a slave, it was identifying, like a person was trying to tell me, God look at you as a slave in the Quran. And I'm like, well, yeah, God say you a slave to sin in the Bible too. But what He say on the other side of that is come over here and be my child. And basically only a slave to sin, not a slave to righteousness. So even in my head, I'm like justifying it. Oh yeah, man, we a slave to sin. That's in the Bible, but not in the sense of only looking at me as a slave and never looking at me as nothing else. That is the complete opposite. You understand? Mm-hmm. So that's what that's what caused me to take a step back. And like I said, that's what the scriptures say. I do not believe that's what the people stand for. You understand, that are practicing the religion. So, I want to be very, intentional in saying what is written. I still love and support the people, my Muslim brothers and sisters, because I know that's not where their heart at. I know they're not reading and they're not aware, of what that says. And I can't as I say I know, but that's what I believe. They're in it for why I was in it. I wasn't in it because I understood that and signed up for that. That's what I just found with my due diligence. You get what I'm saying? So,
Well, I believe it's respect. Like I respect that you came to, elevate yourself and to seek, information and not on no, And I also respect that you could respectfully bow out and say, I'm okay. You know what I mean? I respect that. So that's why I think that's what we need more of.
Thank you.
You being you, me being you. You respect that? I respect that. You know what I mean? So
and with love, and that's what I'm saying. It was, I talked to you yesterday as my Muslim brother, but it took some time, because it's people. What I said some stuff, on what I discovered that's there to people. Religion is important to me. So I, being out of respect, being mindful. That's what's the key to respect. I just want to point it out. It's about thinking about you, who's on the other side. Is what I'm doing. Because that's why I say, that's what the scriptures say. It's not about the people. Sometimes people, my religion is me. Don't treat it like that. It's a part of you. But don't attack me because I'm telling you what I found in a book. I don't have a problem with you or any person.
Same thing, whereas a lot of people got a problem with Christians and not Christianity. Not to say that you won't find something that you don't like, but you don't like how the people treat you. You got a problem with my skin. You don't know how black people like. You don't like. So I definitely agree and understand what you're saying. You know what I mean?
That's all I'm saying.
And like I said, we can have differences. It's about respect.
That's it.
You know what I mean?
That's it. I ain't got to get.
So my next question is about, because you is part 1 and part 2. You have mentioned a lot about security for Philly. So tell us about it. You know what I mean? What is security for Philly? How did that come about? Let's go into that.
So let's just self-security. So it was security for Philly. It has been amended and revised to be the family security program. So this is the pledge. Family security starts with humility. Pride comes before destruction. Most conflicts are founded in miscommunication and misinformation. Therefore, my priority is to always establish effective communication that will support me in accomplishing my goal and our goal of keeping myself safe and our family safe. My brain, my God, and my God is the most powerful weapon on earth. Now let's heal Philly. So that's the Security for Philly pledge. And I created that pledge as a tool to teach effective communication, establish effective communication, and to include a pledge of commitment of using effective communication to resolve conflict with our families and ourselves as a priority. Because personally, I know I'm a person who has grown through anger management issues as a child. And so I know personally that at any given time, I can get to a point where I don't care what the consequences are for me. That's why I was going to jail. I didn't care about that. It was when my mom came to visit me that I started crying and realizing I never thought about how would it impact her or anybody else. I was completely fine with getting locked up, getting life, whatever. Seriously. You have to understand that when you're in the streets. I was perfectly fine with that because I was feeling how I felt. I was on a mission, but also it's a form of suicide when you don't care about your well-being. I didn't know that then. I know it now. I didn't care about me, but my loved ones. Like I said, when my mom came in there. So when I wrote this pledge, I said sometimes a person could be so upset they don't care what happened to them. They'll sacrifice themselves to punch you, hurt you. But I've been able to talk people down with guns, knives, in all types of situations at bars in the city of Philadelphia, on trains, with no weapon. They had guns and knives. All I said to them was, think about your children. You got kids, think about your children. You got your wife, think about your wife. It's not worth it. And I was able to keep telling them that and work them down. So where I say keep myself safe and our family safe, that buy-in of bringing up that family is that extra anchor. So that's what I created that for. So Security for Philly, I needed to create a pledge because I have the boot camp. I have a full boot camp, and basically boot camp is the military and the army, they're leadership programs. That's what they are. They're college, extra post-secondary leadership courses that teach you leadership, effective communication, and train you up, and they connect you to go to college. So understanding that, I developed a family security boot camp that fills in the gaps that the military and the standard security doesn't around mental health, brain health, mediation, all of those crisis skills that we use in the behavioral health world. So I bring behavioral health to security. That, in a nutshell, the security or family security programs brings behavioral health to the security world. And one of our, I'll close with this, family security principles is that security starts with our obedience to God, not with us. I'm not in control of my security. As a believer, my safety and why I navigate and do, because my faith is that God is keeping me safe. And that is what we believe, and upon that, the second line in the Security for Philly pledge is pride comes before destruction. Everything I say is tied back to principles of Scripture. Everything, whether I'm quoting the Scripture or using the same words or not, or that's the priority, not everything, but the priority is for everything, to fall under that. So I say that to say that that's a key principle that's about our security, about our program. No, Life Outside the Streets is not a religious institution, but, I'm the author of the pledge. And, I published that in there and wrote the principles, as a leader. But we're going to launch it through Jon McKay Investment Group. Life Outside the Streets is going to provide the training and make it free and affordable for the community. Using the rights process and all of the best brain health and behavioral health components you need. Because all of those workshops are available, So we got basically brought everything together in conjunction with our own curriculum, and then we're launching. And then the church is also going to play a role in providing training and building up, and that's primarily where I'm going to get the first line of security from now that I'm opening up the church. The church members will be the security. The family security leaders will be members from our church. Is how I'm going to roll it out this time around. Campaigning, because we need people that have everlasting values and principles out providing security.
Right,
we need them, something that has something above them to hold them accountable, not just the mission or the job. So you can't just bring that to a company. So now by strategically doing it through church members, which I was going to recruit some, but launching it primarily, I have that because their commitment to character and morals ain't because of the job. They're not behaving themselves because of the Security for Philly job. They're behaving themselves because of their relationship with God.
Now, because you big on security for Philly or family security, are you against the police?
No.
Are you with the defunding the police?
I'm with maximizing the budget of the police. I'm not with wasting money and neglecting things and needs. So I'm very careful, because if the money is allocated and used accordingly and maximized, the police on their job would do better. So I don't feel as though we need to defund the police to do what I'm talking about. What Security for Philly and family security is bringing to the community is a prevention agency. We don't have no such thing. So, this is an addition. We're adding a level, and there's really no such thing across the country or the world. On all levels of security starts with responding. So people don't understand that. The police cannot prevent. It's not their job. They're paid to respond. You call them, is something going on? Is it a crime? No, or call us back when it's a crime, so to speak. And it's just a systematic thing. And it's been on this journey and dealing with our real life. What they can't do it. It ain't their job. So, no, we're here to complement. One of our rollout strategies is we have a family security block captain. So this is a person, a block captain that gets trained by us with these preventable services. So it's there on the ground, you understand, on every block. So this is a quick way to roll it out, you know what I mean, in Philly and get the ball rolling.
All right. Now, you talk a lot about families and security and, you know, the daughters and all that. Do you want to get married one day?
Yes, man. That the Lord says a man who finds a wife finds a good thing. And it was doing so much spiritual growth during COVID 2020, right? That was the shout out to God for the sit down. I hope we get another one. Y'all probably don't like it. I hope we get another one. We get to be home just like that a whole year. Because we're going to do it with our heads up this time. We're
going to do right with it this time.
That's what I'm saying. And we did right with it before all the progress and money. But anyway, back to me. What'd you say? What'd you ask me?
Do you want to get married one day?
Oh, yeah. Look, you got me. Yeah, God says a man who finds a wife. I got so excited because it was during this window, past 5 years, that God pointed out to me, a man who finds a wife, a woman is a wife when you find her. So how do she become a wife before? I thought all this time we thought we was making them wives. So what I understood right away, that a woman becomes a wife by becoming one with God first, having that relationship, that walk, not going to church, not going to mass yet only. No, really walking, understanding, living her life and modeling every decision behind what God says. That's how a woman becomes a wife. And then when a man like myself finds her, which I'll see all the attributes of God, because that's what she's living, he says you find a good thing, and I believe that. Women are, in the Bible, God's pronoun is he. Wisdom pronoun is she. And he says everything, all creation was birthed through her. Wisdom being a she. So for me, like it says on earth as it is in heaven, that's where our system comes from, male, female. He took the story of Adam and Eve is that he took a rib from Adam and created Eve and said she will be called woman because she came from man. Not just because her name woman. She's called woman because she came from man. So for me as a believer, I'm not complete without a wife. Might not be for me to get a wife. But knowing as a believer, I would love and pray to get a wife. And,
well, you know you almost was Muslim, so what about multiple?
No, listen. I mean, listen. All I would say is, I can't say I haven't found a wife, but she's not my wife. You know what I'm saying?
Understood. So is someone special in your life right now?
Yeah. That's definitely someone special in my life right now. And but at the same time, I know some wives. Is what I'm saying. Like I know some women that are wives.
Right.
So I can't say, you know what I mean. There's only one person special right now, but I know some wives in the field.
Understood. What's up with the name Mr. Brain Health? And the reason why I asked that is because I remember a conversation me and you was having, and you told me something fascinating. We usually argue, it'd be out of love though. But we was talking, I forgot exactly what it was. It might have been about religion. But something you said that stuck to me, you was like, people don't have fully developed brains until they're about maybe women a little earlier, 25 to 26. 25 to 28. That's for men and women. So, and I thought that was like fascinating because we go through a lot of things before the age of 28. So if you feel like, if you realize, damn, I don't even have a fully developed brain. I got children, I done went through this, I done did this, I did this. You did that with an undeveloped brain. So once you made me realize, I think I was maybe talking about religion, but I might have been talking about getting rid of people, like fuck them. You know what I mean? And I think you might have like reeled me in by like, they not even, we can't, it might have been children. We can't like they're not even fully developed. So that's when I got my first introduction into brain health. You sent me some things and I find it fascinating. So what got you on that journey and why do they call you Mr. Brain Health?
Mr. Brain Health. Well, shout out to Community College of Philadelphia first and foremost, because it was while I was in my case management course. I wish I remember my professor's name, but shout out to my professor. And she, I know it was a woman, she had introduced me to Dr. Daniel Heyman. Now, I just did it, watched the video and did it for homework, but in a TED Talk, he introduced me to spec imaging. So at this time, he was a retired military x-ray technician and psychiatrist. And while being a psychiatrist, he got introduced to spec imaging, which is a brain scan that looks at blood flow and the brain activity. So it actually looks at the functional health of the brain versus, which he educated me in at the same time, a CAT scan or a PET scan that only looks at the structure. Then I also know that when it comes to the hospital and my own educational system and medical services, absolutely no one, I've never had a brain health nothing. I ain't never had a workshop. I ain't never had a worksheet. I ain't never heard a day, how nothing.
That's a fact, because they're going to tell you how to get your limbs together. You got to lift weight. They're going to tell you how to eat right for your diet. They're going to tell you what to eat for your heart. I have never heard anything about how to keep your brain healthy.
So that struck me right away. I said, what? But at the time I took it, did my homework, I said, oh yeah, this is brilliant, you know. So what happened was, shout out to Angel Say, good sister of mine. She works in the community. She works with an anti-drug organization right now. But at this time, she was working with me as a business consultant. And she said, and I still didn't do it yet. I'm going to do it now. She told me I needed to write an article on brain health and, you know, on our program. So that led me, I'm like, all right, I'm going now. I had Dr. Daniel Amen in the tuck. Let me go pull him out. So I had to go do, you know, I'm using him as a source.
Research.
I go do the research. He had just dropped the book, Brain Health, Dr. Daniel Amen. The title of the book, The End to Mental Illness. The End. That's just a title? No. The End. Everybody that's on drugs, it's a book out right now to end it. Every mental health condition. It's actual, there's an actual practice. And I read the book, you know, and the way Dr. Daniel Amen has it set up, he got courses. I started taking the courses. He got courses set up so that as an individual, you can take the course, become brain health certified. As a medical professional, you can take it, and he has it so with the certs that they can get as medical professionals, you can add it to your practice. And then it's streamlined just like all the other coaching programs. So I knew right away with the proper packaging and launching, overnight we can end the violence, not only end the violence in Philadelphia, but heal every brain in Philadelphia.
Which is probably causing the violence.
That's where it comes from. And then as a student of behavioral health, it's like, behavioral health. All the things we plague our community are behaviors. What runs behaviors? The brain. What does the brain need? Healthy diet. Brain healthy diet. We got that now. Healthy mental health. With the brain healthy diet you go, but it's 4 circles that all medical professionals are supposed to assess your health through. Shout out to Dr. Daniel Amen for teaching me this. Through your social circle. So when your parents say who you hang with makes a difference, it actually does towards your health. Your social circle, this is what your doctor is supposed to be assessing and communicating with you, that they're not. So make sure that they do it moving forward. Checking with your social circle. Who are you hanging around with? How is it impacting you? Making sure you're hanging around good people. This is way past anybody's opinion. It's your health. Your psychological health. Not your just your brain and mental. That's one whole circle. Everything time you get assessed, they do that. They ask us a little survey. Are you thinking about depression? No, they're supposed to go a little deeper. You understand? Then your spiritual circle. Your spiritual health. It blew my mind to know that every medical professional is supposed to look at our health and assess and give us feedback on the importance of a spiritual entity. To know they can't tell you what your spirituality is, but they're supposed to educate you that you need it. Why? Because you need to have, or it's helpful. You know, you need to have hope in something outside of this world. Because it's going to come a time when the things inside of this world will let you down. And if you don't have a spiritual connection, that's when you're going to suicide and we turn to these unhealthy things. So it makes some sense scientifically. But that spiritual thing could be anything you want it to be. Hopefully it's good. It needs to be good in order for it to be effective. And the last thing, I said, your physical health. So that's your rest of your body. So every time we get it, so he built this brain health practice through looking at your health through that. So the treatment plan is through that. And he uses nutraceuticals instead of pharmaceuticals. Now, let me educate you on what a nutraceutical is. It is the healthy version of the pharmaceutical. And sadly, I have to let you guys know, and happily at the same time, every pharmaceutical has a nutraceutical that these evil bastards have been choosing with all their wealth to continue to give us. For every pharmaceutical that is synthetic and causes damage and cancer and heart attacks and all these things they guarantee just to sell a product, they know and have the base healthy nutraceutical that they could be offering. But instead of using pharmaceuticals, he uses nutraceuticals.
Pharmaceuticals is more expensive?
You didn't hear what I said? No. Pharmaceuticals are man-made medicine that causes damage. You know, you take Tylenol, get rid of your liver.
Right. But so what is considered? I asked that because I was assuming that they don't give us the nutraceuticals because it's...
No, they just choose not to. They made the pharmaceutical off that. I didn't know that they know they could be giving us the good stuff. They're just choosing not to, bro.
Because you could just charge us up for the good stuff. If you wanted to put a price on that.
We're all a big science lab. Just by choice. And all because he, in his speech in the TED Talk, he said, my dad called me the Maverick. And most people wouldn't think as that a good thing, but he said, I'm the Maverick because they told him at the Spec Imaging conference not to use it for the practice to help heal the brain. So I told you about the brain scan. But I didn't tell you that at the conference, they told the psychiatrists, don't use it to help people heal their brains. Only use it to give information to the pharmaceutical industry and the food industry. So this machine has been around forever, and they're using the data from it and only to feed us more poison. But he went against that and built Amen clinics to actually make it accessible. And now they taking insurance, and we bring it into Philly, and we here, and we good. So we ain't gonna spend our energy on tightening them up. We are going to tighten them up. We're going to make them pay. But we're going to spend our energy on getting our brain healthier, changing these systems over, taking control of wellness centers and development in Philadelphia, and making sure this never happens again.
All right. Now, we wrapping this thing up.
Oh.
What would you say to somebody if they was to say that you've been all over the place and you may never reach your goals until you focus? An example, you went from selling music to coffee to, a mayor candidate, security, you know what I mean, health, brain health. It just seems like you got a lot of your octopus. So to someone who would say, well, he's just all over the place and, he need to focus.
I would say that you're absolutely right. I'm all over the place and I need to focus, and I will never accomplish the goals until I focus more. And that's what you're saying right now. That's why you're watching this interview. You understand? What I also need you to know is being all over the place was a part of our business plan. See, that's what people gotta understand. So now as we're launching these corporations and development projects, we have experience in every sector that we're working in. First-hand experience, professional experience, all the experience you need that they tell you when you got the bright idea but you don't have the experience or relationships. I have all that. That's what all that work was for. So when I come through knocking on the door in the community with these plans, I already built the trust, the relationship with enough stakeholders and individuals that we get right to it. So it was all strategy. And that's why it's important to learn from other people's strategies and watch them, but don't get too hung up on where you think they should be at, because you don't know their strategy. You're only seeing what stage is in that moment. Now could I have done things more better and effectively and been in a better place? Absolutely. But what I've learned is that, especially for me, a believer and I would say a leader, a minister in ministry, but this is for people in general. But the way God uses people, he moves. Just as he used Jesus as an example with the 12 disciples. He was running around like, he kind of like not trying to associate God with a drug dealer, but kind of like a drug dealer in the hood. Like, he be on the go. He was like, oh, y'all fish? Man, let me show you how to be fishers of men. Come on, let's go. What you do? Come on, you want to know the way? Come on, let's go. So he went from here to there, to there, to there. And then all the prophets, that's how we move. He told us to send a message out. So to a world, like people be like, oh, the world, the white people, the white Bible taught us slavery. Nah, the Bible teaches you freedom. And that's why we got free once they got their hands on it. And total freedom. And it got them free. And got us free. And I say that to say, because God teaches you to use your individuality. He teaches you that there is nothing you can't do no matter what your circumstance is. That's what the Bible teaches you. It gives you your true power because it tells you. Because the world tells you, oh, you got to lock in, you got to stay here. And now people are coming to understand that. But what I'm saying to you is, as a believer, working things God's way, that's how it is. It's all over the place. You understand? Because he plants seeds. He said the faithful mustard seed. He plants seeds and he makes those, so he sets things up. And then he sets you in position to run it. So it looks different for everybody. But yeah, I've been all over the place planting seeds. If you know anything about gardening, you don't garden in one spot. You spread seeds all over because you don't know where the crops is going to grow. But you do want to do everything orderly and decently. But everything was necessary.
That answer, man. I love that answer, especially just knowing you. And I would say, knowing you and being there, you have been all over the place, but it wasn't all over the place. It has been a very controlled chaos. It has been someone that I know, it has been research. You have been learning this whole time, and now you're ready to teach.
Yeah, I mean, my plan when I came home still, like, I'm coming to scope Philly out, see who. Most everybody that's been, I've been an entrepreneur since 2002. So unless they were already adults, I'm 40.
Right.
Everybody. So I seen it. So I'm like, who, check it out. I'm scoping everything out like Ellen I see who. I done work with organizations, been inside them. I'm humble enough to work alongside. So I know who's doing it with integrity, who's not. I work next to some of these people. Mm-hmm. You feel me? So that's what it was about. I come home straight chase the money. Even with Security for Philly, I launched Security for Philly campaign 7 days later. I was with Kenyatta Johnson, Senator Anthony Williams. Don't know Senator Anthony Williams. Shared my vision, and Senator Anthony Williams, he ain't just say, I'm going to look out for you on the video. He said, God just spoke to me, and we're going to go with your plan. I'm going to give you $25,000 of my money, and we're going to get you that $1 million from the state, whatever it costs, we're going to do it. So I stopped campaigning for money and started looking for the team. I could have kept looking for the money. You understand? I could have just got the paperwork together, got it, and got the money and been in the mix. But I knew I needed a team. I could get the money and do wrong with it. That's what everybody else already doing. I already work for an organization that's doing that. I'm amongst it. I'm cool. I'd rather work with somebody else that's instead of driving mine in the hole. You get what I'm saying? So.
Yeah. Is there anything you want to that I might have missed in part 1 and part 2 that you just want to discuss or something?
Yeah.
Oh, 4, huh?
Well, man, you see, I mean, shout out to my brother, I mean, SK, Hakeem Young, Foreign Republic. This our brand. Shout out to Rel, Foreign Rel. I mean, the founder of the Foreign brand. I mean, yeah, we got that drip, y'all see me. So cop up, that's what's next. Fashion shows coming. Hit us up, merchandise around. And this media, you're not just watching me. I'm kicking it off. I'm 50 Cent in this joint. Mm-hmm. You understand? Shout out to my guy. Yeah, I'm still looking for 50. I'm still looking for, shout out Tyler, the director. Behind the camera. We got a crew now. Shout out Rec Philly. But just closing remarks. Whatever you need, we got it. Hit us up. Shout out to Shelly Shell. Shout out to Urban Expressions. This is my pitch, Shelly. I want to bring Urban Expressions back. You know what I'm saying? Videos, we got a lot of talent. Videos, business. We doing more than music now. But we bringing, Philly for Real to TV with Urban Expressions, Laura Willing. You know what I mean? But this is my petition for that. And it's showtime. Shout out my man, gas station radio. His TV station is already live. So I already got a partner to put you out and have you on TV tomorrow, tonight. Like I told you, the drug dealer tonight. Young boy, you want to be on TV tonight? That's going to keep you in the house? You going to stop? You going to put the gun down tonight? You want to be on TV tonight? Hit us up. If that's what it's going to take, got everything. And that's what I've been waiting for. And that's why you see me on this camera in this style. Because it's showtime. I knew better to come without being able to deliver. So it's showtime.
Speaking of the young boy, shout out to Coach Ty, Tyrone Morris.
Definitely, Coach Ty, community. Oh my God, man! That's our alumni brother, frat brother. Yeah, man, from Girard. Shout out Girard College. Shout out Girard College. Since I've been home, this part one you already heard from France. We gotta go into details. This is the overview. Thank you. Shout out to my guy. Yeah, man, this is our kickoff. If you want to get interviewed, hit us up. You understand? You want to share your story. You're trying to share anything. You're trying to get any type of production just done. Hit us up. We're really looking to do movies. Shout out Jimmy Mall Films. You understand? If you want to get a movie done, you got the budget. You're trying to get it done quick. Hit us up. We ain't playing no games. That's what's coming next. It's time to showcase the story. We about to start. So we're gonna put the YouTube out there, the channel, so y'all can start locking in on the channel. You know what I mean? And the content. But we gonna start sharing the story. I'm holla at y'all. That's it.
Yes, sir.
Cut and print.